support, the work that you're currently doing now. So could you add to this conversation and what everyone is talking about right now in this group, and lead us into just some of the different things around the importance around mental health support and around this peer support network?
I'll be glad to. And I want to preface my comments by commending the Hiring Our Heroes Foundation and Hisako for taking this two-pronged approach to the problem. One being listening to the people that are impacted and getting their experiences in a way that aggregates the problem a bit. It gives definition to the problem, but you do something very important because these people are not data points on a timeline, right? Their actual lives that are impacted. And when you take this report and tie it to what Maria talked about, what Tiffany talked about, and what Candace talked about, you give it three-dimensional definition so that the data doesn't sit there as nameless, faceless people who are going through this problem. And I want to kind of go right to the peer support angle because nobody understands you better than somebody who's been in the position you find yourself in. We know that's true, as Rosalinda suggested, with veterans with certain disabilities. A veteran with an amputation is going to understand based on the experience of somebody else who's had that. Caregivers who bear the burden alone. A lot of them don't see it as a burden, but some do, and they do face it alone. And they talk to other caregivers and survivors when they've lost a loved one. These are groups that are oftentimes, there's no way to align what they're going through with some other common experience that others who don't know haven't gone through. And you can be sympathetic, but it's hard to empathize. Uh, a military spouse, and by the way, I was a military spouse as well. My wife served 18 months in Afghanistan. She was an Army soldier, and I knew what that was like from a male perspective. So the changing face of this problem is also important to recognize. Um, but you do get your life upended by the rigors of military service when you're that support. And people say support as if it's sort of this passive thing. Most of the time, you're the reason why that service member can function, right? So there are direct national security implications for those who are in the home that this military service member has to come back to find stability and to offload the hardship of serving in the military, especially after deployment. So that military spouse becomes critical to the apparatus that keeps us free as a country. Um, so when you find yourself in the hole, and when we refer to this a lot when we talk about injuries, it's not always a doctor or an organization or a medication or some self-help book that's going to get you out of it. It's somebody who's been in that hole before, who's willing to jump back in with you. And a lot of you have done that. I've watched your work, who are willing to jump back in and show you the way out, right? And so if you set up a formal support system where those connections are more likely to happen, that's the beginning of, and that aligned experiences, then you're enhancing the likelihood of success. Everybody's not going to have the same degree of success because everybody's at different starting points, but you enhance the likelihood that you're going to be more successful systemically when you have these forums where you bring people together who have common experiences. Um, and that's where you start to have people try different approaches, adopt different attitudes, or simply feel like somebody understands what they're going through. And I think that has implications for their self-esteem and things like that. And it's not as abstract when you talk to somebody who can say, as Maria and Candace laid out, details about their lives. And I was really taken in by Maria's story because she talked about being somebody on that senior level who still faced a lot of the issues that somebody who's relatively new to this is going to face. And I think that those challenges are obvious to people who don't know what it's like. So to have them bring us into those stories, to tie it to the data is very important to having us take it out of the abstract and do something about it. But I think that, you know, having forums like this and having people and employers especially understand one thing in particular, the way you help society and solve this problem is to have people within your organization who have been through this. They become the ambassadors. They can help you find military spouses and maximize their potential and navigate those uncertainties. Like, are they going to move, and are they going to do this? And, you know, what are ways we can capture that talent? And I've seen spouses move and keep their job because the job didn't require physical placement. We've all had to reimagine what it's like to work virtually now. We know what that's like and what's possible. Well, this may have implications in how we keep military spouses in jobs for which they're suited for, bring a lot, and have a lot to offer, and simply need an opportunity to hold on to that and move up in the organization by thinking about the job a little bit differently.
Sherman, I also think a part of the solution is we all just need a little bit more of you in our lives.
A little more.
A few. So I'm going to wrap up quickly because I know also in this world that we're in, everybody ends when they're supposed to and jumps onto the next Zoom call. So I want to thank all the panelists for being a part of this discussion and encouraging all of you to go to that report, because what you heard here is broken down. If you know anything about Rosie and Hisako's work, they give you nice pictures to make it super simple. So go to the report. Sherman, thank you for bringing that human aspect and also just the narrator, the orator in you. I'm obsessed. And everyone have a good time with this report. I wanted to say one thing really important. It didn't have a page number on it. Maybe the non-embargoed copy will. But the recommendations is everyone's action items following this briefing. So have a great day, everyone. Thanks for bringing me on board.